greetings and welcome to the Entrepreneurship Club, CODEC as we are called. We are coming to you from the beautiful campus of the College of DuPage, located here in beautiful Glen Ellen, Illinois. Many of you know this is their 50th anniversary year of the college. So studio audience, let's give a hand for the 50th college year. Some of us are more excited about the 50th year than others, of course. But again, thank you for those of you here in the studio audience. Thank you for being here. Those of you watching as well, thank you. Many of you know already the College of DuPage Entrepreneurship Club, CODEC, our format. We are actually celebrating, again, our 50th anniversary, but our goal here is to expose students and you, the audience, to entrepreneurs who are actually currently in the fight, as I like to call it. And by them being in the fight, their journey, and maybe even talking about their ups and downs through the struggles, of course. We're in episode number 7, the last episode, the last meeting for this spring semester. Many of our students have finals next week. Let's hear it for finals. It was like boo, boo, no, okay, no finals. And of course we have sponsorships. Today's sponsorship is from Jeanine Perla, who's from O Chefs, and so we're gonna also queue up her business as well. But without further ado, let's even jump into our distinguished guests, Glen and Tammy Fisher, coming all the way from Indiana, from Fisher Construction. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for joining us here at the Entrepreneurship Club. It's a long trek you made, and I'm just really humbled that you're here as well, and our students
Our
are
pleasure.
as well. Awesome. So, again, we're students and myself, a faculty member who are budding entrepreneurs, who we're thinking about it. We are maybe even just dreaming about it. And again, for you who are in the business, who are as small business, let's start off right away. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, what part of Indiana you're from, and how'd you get here? How'd you manage your way here?
Well, basically we're from Crown Point, Indiana. We're a smaller based family operated and owned construction company.
Sure.
We've been in business for 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah, incorporated for 20 years.
Okay, right.
Yep.
We'll talk about that too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep. But basically what brought us here was Claudia over here.
Yeah.
Claudia is our distinguished social media expert as well.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we plug her up too as well. But thank you again for coming as well. So tell us all how you got started really. How did you jump? Were you always in construction since you were younger? Or?
Basically I was right out of high school, did some schooling, got educated, and then jumped in all the different trades from concrete to the framing portion to installing floors.
That's hard stuff, man. I've drywalled before in my life.
Yeah, very tough.
I did not love that.
Yeah.
I did not love. I think I did it for like all of a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is not my life right
But
here.
mainly a lot of hands-on,
Yeah.
getting to know each individual portion of how the house is put together.
Sure.
And then just decided I want to go out on my own.
So how long before you did that? Because actually we've had members, students who were in on construction a little bit. How long before you were doing that, dabbling in that, maybe working for other people, did you decide to make the jump?
Yeah, about 8 years.
Okay.
Working for other employers and just seeing, just wanted something bigger, something better, and
Yeah.
you got to take a chance.
So what is that chance like? So I know what it's like to jump into a business or see an opportunity and seize it. But for that, where do you start as a guy who loves construction? And where do you even start? Do you just say, okay, I want to start a business? Where do you get clients from and things like
Well,
that?
basically that's the first thing. You have to love it to go out and achieve it.
Sure.
So I knew exactly what I wanted to do as far as construction. Basically, getting your first job. Once you get your first job, make that client happy. Word of mouth is the best advertisement. You can rent every billboard out there. Word of mouth. Do your best. Be friendly. Be professional. And it takes off from there.
So while you were working with the previous jobs, were you kind of seeing how they were running the business at all, and noticing the ins and outs, the administrative part of it, which I'm sure is super tough as well.
It is. The business end of it.
You watched that for the business end of it. You watched it for a long time, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So now, which one do you love? Do you love the business end? Or do you love the actual hands-on?
Myself, I'm in the field all day long.
Really?
My wife here is my secretary. She basically does you know, the contracts and all the paperwork, the invoicing.
Wow.
I have a small portion in it. She's a huge help.
Yeah.
We've grown so big that she's pretty necessary.
Very.
You know, as far as you know, part of the business.
I actually helped run a grocery store for 17 years.
So you had a little bit of experience with
So-
running an operation.
Yes.
I see, is a little
Yeah.
bit. So that was a seamless
It's a
transition.
perfect team.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the challenges that entrepreneurs have. Sure, they know how to be the hands-on. For instance, I might be a good coder. I might be good with programs or be able to network homes very, very well. But the back end of, you know, the money, the finances,
Yeah.
the managing teams and things like that. Sometimes that's a little bit
Absolutely.
challenging, huh?
I think that's where when we work together, we've had friends that have tried to be on their own
Yeah.
and tried to do it all, tried to do the invoicing, you know, the taxes and all that, and they just couldn't,
Yeah.
you know, it's just too much and overwhelming. So the teamwork that we have has.
Good for you. Good for you guys. And those of you in the studio audience, please don't hesitate to raise your hand, chime in, speak up so that we can make sure that we hear you. This is a real estate business, of course, and so those of you who are remotely interested in real estate, being a broker, a realtor, or maybe even on the construction side of things, maybe this is an opportunity to get some information about how they got in, but also how they are able to be successful, because it can be a challenging field overall as well. So,
Yeah.
so that being said, do you have, I'm sure you have a network of individuals that you work with, be it realtors or people who may be on your team who help you with different projects.
We do.
How does that work? How has that worked out over time as well?
Well, basically, you want to get involved with other realtors. They know a whole wide range of people that want not only existing houses but new homes, because we do new construction.
You do new construction.
So
as
we
well.
That's our
have
main business.
we have
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's all from the ground up. We build the house.
Wow.
So basically, when they have a client that's looking for, you know, they own a lot or they're looking for a builder, they come to us.
Sure.
Also, we're in the Home Builders Association in Northwest Indiana. So it's a big organization that's pretty much nationwide. That we're a portion, we're in that as well.
Yeah.
So that helps out.
That helps your network.
Yeah.
And those of you, again, in different fields, whether it is technology, whether it is business, whether it is marketing, there are different associations in every single industry that all of you may be interested in, that you can network in, that you can get to know individuals in the field who maybe have done it way longer than you have, or are considering it, and that you can learn from also. And it's also good to get maybe business from them as well, or business contacts.
Absolutely.
That is as well. Questions from the audience, folks? Everyone's kind of quiet today. What's going on? Is it the end of semester? So let's start over here, then we'll come over here. Yes, sir.
How scared were you to do your first job?
Your first job. How scared were you? Yes.
Not really scared.
I was going to say, he's very comfortable in construction, so it was a natural for
It's
him.
my knack. So with working with other, you know, employers and stuff, learning and just soaking up what you can. Going after the first job was easy. The financial portion of it was probably a little more scarier. Going out on your own.
The first year, not to scare anybody, but we took
It's
a big
tough.
chance. We lived off our credit cards.
Yeah.
You know, we racked up probably $20,000, $30,000 in debt trying to, we knew we were going to make it, and we stuck
Yeah.
with it. And, you know, once the job started rolling in, and just word of mouth with the kind of work he does,
Sure.
you know, it went a long way. We've been in business for, 28 years, and we've never once advertised.
Wow.
So,
That's you. So that's all referrals, word of mouth,
Yes.
contacts, the network that we're talking
Yes.
about.
yes.
In
Wow.
the 20 years that we're actually, we own another company too. We run a trim company, so we do all the interior finish work and all of the new homes for other builders in the area.
Oh, wow.
We trim over 250 homes a year, on top of building 3 to 5 homes myself a year.
That's a lot.
So we stay busy. We've
Yes.
got 6 guys on payroll. That's
Wow.
all we have.
Yeah. Wow. Going back to that first year, and this is actually that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. That's it's very, very important, because for most entrepreneurs, most businesses, that first year, for that matter, that first 2 or 3 years is probably the toughest,
It is.
because
It is.
you're not making a salary usually, and you're kind of hoping that it's going to just blow
Yes.
up eventually, is right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. It was a little bit tough, but you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
If you want it, you can achieve it.
And I have to really agree with that. You have to be passionate about it.
You do.
And especially in that phase when you're not making any money, you got to be passionate about it. Got to be as well. Yes, ma'am. We have a question over here.
Well, I want to really thank you for coming out here. It's so interesting. I've been in the real estate industry. It piqued my interest. You said you were in the construction business. Now, when you take on a job, like let's just say that someone may require plumbing to be there now, are you equipped to do all the work with subcontractors, or is that something that you handle yourself, getting licenses from the village and
Right.
pulling
Yeah.
and all that?
Basically, I'm not equipped to do the plumbing. We have our separate subcontractors that are licensed and bonded to cover, our company as well. So we have our separate subcontractors, our concrete guys, our framers. My company, myself, we do all the interior finish work in the homes personally. So that's one of our special touches that we can provide that other builders don't, because a lot of builders out there, they subcontract to every trade out there, but we in-house, we hold all the interior finish work.
Which means the cabinets,
The
the
cabinets,
stairs,
the trims, the
trim.
staircase, anything, all the finishings on the inside of the house. We do
And,
that.
Glenn and his team, they offer a lot of detail.
All right.
Specialty.
And that probably sets you apart.
It does.
For sure, from your competition.
Yeah, we cater to roughly around the $400,000 to the $800,000 homes.
Wow. Wow.
So we do a lot of higher end detail work.
Yeah. So, and that's one thing also for, again, you budding entrepreneurs out here. It's one thing to have a business. It's one thing to start a business. But if your business is just like everybody else's, why do they want to work with you?
Exactly.
You have to separate yourself.
We do, and
We
that's what we
actually,
did.
the staircase in the homes that we do, we have our own signature staircase that no other builder in the area has caught on to yet. But we're always looking for ways of, providing something different.
Further differentiating,
to
right.
bring clients into us.
The one thing that he has with me also is I'm a designer.
Oh,
so
good.
I design. I pick the
It's
houses
like a
up.
one-stop shop
Yes.
here. Wow.
Well, she meets with the clients and actually goes to the cabinet store and helps coordinate their cabinets with the tile, the hardwood.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they have a hard time, picking
Yeah.
all that stuff out.
Oh.
And they don't want to step outside their box. So I kind of push them to be a little more adventurous in the style selections that they pick.
You said you're in Crown Point. Do you work in a certain geographical area? And something else that we talk about in business classes, entrepreneurship, is staying in your niche, staying in the area that you're solid at, and not necessarily going out too far, but knowing your area and knowing the city and knowing the ordinances very well, so that you can be almost the master of your own domain, for lack of a better word. Is that what you
Basically
guys do?
correct. We're pretty tight knit. We travel out probably to 5 other towns,
Yeah.
but it's like maybe a 15, 20 mile radius.
Wow.
So we don't really have to reach out too far. We're pretty well established that we get referrals quite often.
Sure.
We've already had 2 customers. We've done their second home already.
Wow.
They came to us to build their second house.
Wow. That's awesome.
So referrals and again, just keeping your customers happy.
Yeah.
Customers always first.
Yeah.
You don't see that with a lot of companies out there.
Especially
Being a smaller base.
especially construction and remodeling. From my experience, even I feel like they don't always see it through as well as I would like it to. And if you're really valuing that
Yeah.
with your customer, that's huge.
Yeah, see it through and basically not treat the customer or homeowner, with the respect that it should be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Questions from the audience? Some more at all?
No other questions?
Well, I have one thing.
Please.
Are you licensed, I know you were here for the club, not necessarily soliciting business, but are you licensed to work in Illinois?
Actually, I'm not.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're
we
just
will
in
not be able to-
Indiana.
So we will not be able to utilize your services here?
I would have to get licensed in Illinois, correct?
Okay.
Starting off your business, did you have a lot of competition that you had to deal with?
Competition. Good question.
There is a lot of competition, depending on the area. I don't know about this area, but again, it's setting yourself apart from the other businesses, knowing the product that they turn out, just setting yourself,
little bit
a
higher.
couple steps higher than them.
I do fix and flips.
Okay.
And for me, it's really difficult to find a house because I'll look at 100 houses and put offers on 75 of them and maybe get one accepted because there's so many other people who are doing the same thing.
There's a lot of that. At one time, we kind of thought about dabbling in the flipping homes, but with the new construction, basically it was back in '06 when the economy went bad, building, really went flat. We made it through it with employees for about 3 to 4 years, just getting what we could,
Many
getting by.
people around us folded.
They closed their doors, and as a
Right.
smaller construction company like ourselves,
Yeah.
we were able to pull through. But at that point, we were thinking about doing that, and just never got into it.
Yeah.
We know I've got friends that do it. They are successful at it.
It's just the areas, you have to pick the right areas. You have to be willing
It's
to
tough,
go
yeah.
outside of where you're at.
The
right
worst
now.
house on the best block.
Yeah,
Basically, that's it.
that's what we've learned.
You know, the economy does this.
Mm-hmm.
It does cycles. So we've been riding a nice little wave for a few years now. There could be a dip in the next year or so because it is very cyclic. Do you guys plan for that? Do you think about that at all? How might you respond to that? Yeah.
Always in the back of our head. There's always going to be uncertainty.
Yeah.
Lumber prices are up right now, so that kind of slows the building process
Oh, wow.
down. But we're going to be in it for the long haul. So we have reserves now
Yeah.
that we've grown that we
Great,
can make
great.
it through, the lows and get back to the
Well,
highs again.
When we started becoming successful, the one thing that we did compared to the other groups around us
Right.
and friends that we knew, I mean, they went out and spent all their money.
Wow.
They took cruises and they did all the fun stuff while we didn't.
Yeah.
When the economy went bad, we were able to make it for 2 to 3 years without,
Yeah.
putting one of our guys on unemployment and we actually paid our employees
Wow.
and they didn't even work.
We had a couple weeks to where there was no work. I gave them 40-hour paychecks.
Good for you.
Just to keep people from going on unemployment.
And it goes a long way because they see it, they respect you. You
Right.
ask them something to do something, they're going to go ahead and do it.
And my adage is happy employee equals happy customer.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's huge. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Good stuff for that. Good to hear about that. You already talked about your network as well. Any personal habits, and you've even mentioning about this, but personal habits, things that you're doing that again sets you apart. Then I like the fact that you see what your competitors are doing, and you differentiate yourself. But what are maybe some other habits that we haven't spoken about that that set you apart or contribute to your success?
Oh,
that's a loaded question,
That
of
is,
course.
that is
Yeah.
a
But I
lot.
mean, it could be even something very small that you think that not everybody's doing this. Maybe it's
Well,
the touches that you talked about.
I do have to say, one thing that we have going for us is we do not own an office. Our office is in our basement.
Ah.
So every client that we meet comes to our home.
It's a home office.
And they sit at our dining room table with us. And
Wow.
every customer, we have never had one customer walk out and not build with us. Once they sit with us and see what we're like,
Yeah.
and our family is usually sitting there with us.
Well, we basically think keeping it small, family-owned operation, inviting them into our home to see how we live, I think that kind of
Goes a
helps
long
them,
way,
a little
Puts their
more
minds at
easier,
ease.
rather than walking into, basically starting with a realtor, like production homes. You're going to start with a realtor. They're going to send you to a design center. This is what you get to pick from.
Wow.
We set the allowances for them. Like I said, my wife, that's another free service that we provide, is her going with the clients and picking out their cabinetry.
That's
I
nice,
think
yeah.
they enjoy that.
That's awesome. That's great stuff as well. Questions? Any more questions at all before I almost conclude? Yes, sir.
Glenn, my father had a construction company and he started small like you did and eventually got to a larger size, but he finally got out of it because he felt that as he got larger, it was getting harder. He was chasing the money. That's what he used to tell me. He says, I can't get people to pay on time. And
We've been there at times, trying to get as much as you can get. I just dial it back just a little bit. There's that comfort zone. It is tough. We work 7 days a week. It's not full days, but we have client meetings that come over on Sundays. It could take 2-3 hours out of our Sunday.
Sure.
There's times during the day where I can come home, early. You do have your freedom, but you do work 7 days a week.
And not only that, we learned that we limit what jobs outside from our term company,
Right.
how many houses we build a year, and how many side jobs we take on. We have actually, in the last probably 2-3 weeks, we've turned down probably a dozen jobs
Wow.
We only do.
We have people that have actually, they're waiting till spring and next summer for we have a waiting list. Of
Do
people
you
that are
refer
willing
them to somebody else, or just
We
to say,
tell them that they are more than willing. You can go anywhere you want. We kind of give them an idea.
Right.
But I'd say most of them say they're willing to wait.
Well, it
for
goes
us.
back to that comfort zone, like I said. We, with all the trim company that we do,
Right.
we do no more than 5 homes at one time.
right?
That we build. That's our comfort zone. We feel any more than that, we can't put our personal
stretching yourself
touches.
too much,
We
right.
can't oversee them correctly. Again, the client is always first and foremost. We want to make them happy. But with 5 houses going at one time, we do have clients come in, like my wife just said, they're willing to wait. We had 2 houses signed up in the fall for spring digs this year.
Wow.
Under contract, they were willing to wait till spring of this year.
It's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's a
is.
very good place to be. Congratulations for sure as well. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
I know you mentioned something about associations you can go to learn more about the trade that you're interested in. I wanted to know though, if someone was interested in construction, do they go to a construction company or look online? I mean, I'm talking about training. You mentioned you had 8 years.
Yes.
And you focused on different aspects, but for someone brand new, they think they're interested in construction, do they start with taking classes? Do they go to a construction site and hope that they'll allow them to do an apprenticeship? What is the better way?
Or just work.
Yeah,
Just
well, I
get a
would
job.
probably suggest both of them. Knowledge, classes, courses. If you want to be a general contractor, I would probably suggest trying, different phases of the construction. Try and get on a framing crew, maybe as a laborer, if they won't let you actually do the framing. Just
Project
to be
managers.
around it, just to learn it, soak it up. Move on to another company, maybe interior trim work or flooring installation. The more hands-on,
Yeah.
that's what worked for me.
Those of you who have ever been in my classes, or I'm just even in E2 or even in the club, just saying you want to start a business or coming up with an idea is never enough. You have to do your research. You have to do your hands-on. If it's making something, you need to know how to make it yourself. You can't rely on someone else. You have to do a lot of legwork, a lot of hard legwork. And this is a quick example, not a quick, an 8-year example of what it takes to get to really do your passion. And your passion is not that. It's never that. It's no such thing as overnight success by a long shot. So, yeah. Good question, very good question. Thank you so much. Anybody else before I conclude? No. All quiet. Scared. Okay. Yeah, okay, we got one who's not scared. Yes, sir.
Any advice for the people who just want to start out? Like just one pet peeve that you have if you want to start out in construction, or just in general, want to start a business?
Pet peeve.
What would be a pet peeve?
I don't know.
Or maybe I'll even reframe your question, because this was going to be part of my last question. If you were college age right now, what would you tell yourself, knowing then what you know now? What would you tell yourself? And that might be even something that's alluding to the construction business or any entrepreneurship venture. What would you kind of allude and say, hey, think about this in this age, think about doing this. And it could be anything.
Well, first you have to find your knack. I mean, if you're looking to start a company, again, you're going to be good at it or you're not going to succeed. There's always something that, you're going to be good at.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, no matter what business you start, you have to be knowledgeable in all math areas, accounting areas, taxes, anything with any business.
Yes, very true.
It's very important.
Very true. Those of you who hate math, no, you won't just be using it in class.
No.
You will
We
use it
on a
afterwards
daily
as well.
basis with everything that we do.
Okay.
Well, with myself in the field, building the house,
Right.
obviously
Oh my
there's
goodness,
math
yeah.
in everything you do.
I don't even know how you do that with the construction and the measurements and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Blueprints, reading the blueprints.
I can't even
they
hang
all
a
have
picture on the wall.
measurements and
I do want to say one thing that
Please.
we have learned over the last year, that the lost art of an architect.
really?
Yes, they are hard to find, and just the amount of money that you can make being an architect is amazing. What we pay an architect is unbelievable.
Really?
But to go through that schooling,
It's ridiculous, right?
no, they say it's an easy.
Really?
Yeah, but
There's a huge shortage in architects.
and they make.
And we have
great
a
money.
plan drawn. It's a month and a half, 2 months before it's even completed, before we can even start building the
And
house.
that's what all builders are finding that.
You guys
So
heard it
if
here. You guys,
anybody wants to be an
this
architect,
is a field
I'll
here
tell
that you can make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money.
Yeah, wow.
Because we pay from $500 to $1,500 for a set of plans. So, I mean,
Wow.
our architect, she works for what, 3 builders, and you know she does probably 3, 4 a month. I mean, she makes great money, but like she said, she can't
Wow.
keep up with the demand. She has to turn people away.
So maybe if they don't want to, I'll go back to school. And do it. Yes, please.
One of our viewers on Facebook Live asked, "What book do you recommend to read?" Like, are there any books? Usually, like each person, entrepreneur has that like book that they've read and that's helped them and guided them. He wants to know if you recommend.
Could even be a trade book, maybe even
You
something.
basically, yeah, trade books. I mean, as far as construction, depending on what you're wanting to do.
Just how to succeed books. I
Right.
mean, you need that, in your head at all times to be a successful person.
Do you have a person, like an author
No.
in mind?
Dale Carnegie. Yeah, it's a great book. For sure, that's what I'm thinking off of the top of my head. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the name of his book. That's one of the best books. So yeah, I'm a big believer in a lot of entrepreneurship books out there. I have a ton in my library, in my office. That's huge. Surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded and are very positive, as you just mentioned, is very huge also. So definitely consider that. So you guys here, hey, the learning doesn't stop after college.
No.
It does not stop after college. You think you're tired of schooling? I'm still in school today. You just don't know it because I happen to teach stuff.
We still
We learn every day, whether
different.
it's in the office for her or me in the field, building even the same house. Again, you're going to see something that you've got to
better
think
way to do
about.
it.
There's a better way to do it. We're always looking to do things a better way.
Right.
There's a couple of homes that we've built 2 and 3 times. We're still bettering that house.
Wow.
Asking ourselves, if we lived in that house, how would we want this?
And I even like how you guys said you're always trying to make sure you find ways to differentiate yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's huge, and that's always going to be a secret to success for you guys as well,
Yes.
for sure. So, cool. Let's give them all a hand, folks. Tammy and Glen Fisher here. This was a great final session of the semester. This wraps up our CODEC series for this spring semester. We will see you all here in the studio audience, hopefully again in the fall. Definitely those of you who are watching, we'll see you definitely again in the fall as well. Please keep plugging away. Please keep moving forward. And thank you so much for joining us. Take care.